Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the vlog. So this week we're a small bit different, and just like me, as I always do, I'm late with absolutely everything. So all these lovely people, all these YouTubers have done their what I've got up to for 2020 and kind of a review of what we did. So here's my one. Yeah, so look, let's get into it. Let's see what I did for 2020. But before we get to that, look, 2019 is long gone and we're never going to see that again. But 2019 was so important to me. I got to experience so much. I mean, that's the year I actually started vlogging. I think it was like the 1st of January, kind of this new resolution kind of things. And it's went really, really well. But 2020, well, that hasn't been as good as most people know. Look, we got hit with coronavirus, you know, it is what it is. But was it such a bad year? I think not. And once we go through this review of what happened in 2020, let's break this down and we'll see what we actually got up to. All right. So with 2020, we set it off with a bit of a bang. So first of all, I got to meet up with Dave Piper. So I hooked up with that dude. He's from England. His girlfriend lived here in Ireland. Her name is Rebecca. Really nice girl, really nice guy. And unfortunately, Dave was actually hit by a car in a hit and run accident. Not an accident, kind of thingamajig. And he was actually quite badly hurting, but he's doing quite well and he's on the road to recovery. So Dave, I wish you well, buddy, and I hope you're back on the mend now soon. And before you know it, you'll be back here in Ireland and we can be shooting again. Well, myself and Dave hooked up back in January 2020 to do a bit of a review video on the Panasonic Lumix S1R, and he came on the podcast with myself and Dave, or myself and Darren, and we just hashed it out to see what the pros and cons of this camera were, and man, it was an absolute blast. So after doing that video with Dave Piper, I was left with kind of this travel separation anxiety, if that's really a terminology that we can use. Like, we weren't long back from Norway back in November, and I just was itching to get away. So myself and Darren kind of hooked up with BG, Bernard Geraghty, and we headed off to the Dolomites in January, and we had an absolutely amazing trip. I mean, it's unbelievable. The Italian people, so nice. People that were on the trip with myself and Darren and Bernard, we absolutely got on like a house on fire. I mean, like, do we really want to go over Pizzagate again? I don't know. It's in-house joke. A lot of people won't get it, but Darren and Milo will absolutely 100% get Pizzagate. Anyway, but it was just absolutely amazing. Like, the crew that was there, we just had so much fun. It's like we're best friends before we even met each other for the first time, and we hit it off. Absolutely 100%. I have the microphone here. Jesus Christ! The gimbal's busted. His gimbal just fell off the drone. What were the odds of that? We got to go around to some of the most amazing scenes in South Tyrol. So like, we got to go to Tre Chimay, we got to go to Cicada, and a few other bits and bobs. Unfortunately, we didn't get to go to Lake, what's that one with the boats? Lago? I don't know, I can't remember. But it's one spot that I really wanted to go to, but unfortunately it was frozen over. It was just ridiculously cold over there at the time. So if I was to go back to the Dolomites, I'd definitely be hitting there in the autumn time rather than kind of winter, because I wouldn't want any snow. Even though I really enjoyed it and having the snow there, it really kind of gives a different kind of perception of the place. I would love to go back in autumn. I think it'd be a nicer place to go at that time. Myself and Darren, once again, bumped our heads together and see what we could do. But little do we know what was actually coming in our way. So we planned a trip to Donegal to see the likes of Downpatrick Head, which isn't in Donegal, and I got a bit of slack for it in my vlog, even though I know it's not in Donegal, but you know, it is what it is. Come back to me and we'll be back at Downpatrick Head. Heyo.
And if you're not subscribed to his channel, hit that subscribe button. Do it early, you won't regret it.
and we got to see Crotty Arch, and what else did we see? Oh, the secret waterfall, which is not so secret waterfall. And we got to see Slieve League. I loved Slieve League and I can't wait to go back another time. But I really enjoyed that trip. But our trip was cut short simply because of coronavirus. It actually hit down for the first time in Ireland. And if I'm being totally honest, yeah, myself and Darren did ourselves no favour by watching like these films like Contagion and fucking, I don't know, all these virus films with Ebola and all this. And the two of us were actually freaked out of our heads. Driving around in Donegal looking for places to stay while watching these films. I mean, like, yeah, freaked out of our heads, and then there's problems back home, so we actually cut the trip short. But still, nonetheless, we had an amazing time up in Donegal, and yeah, I think we're due a trip again. I need to get out of this house and go tour somewhere in Ireland. And then from there, we actually ended up doing a few Lightroom tutorials on YouTube, but they didn't really seem to take off. I don't understand why, maybe because there's so many of them online, but that's no problem. I might still start to do a few more in coming weeks, just to maybe fill a bit more of a gap, because we are in another lockdown once again. But what I also did as well is I started my one-to-one series, which ended up being ridiculously popular. I mean, people absolutely loved the one-to-one series, where we had the likes of Nigel Moitier, who is an absolute amazing scuba diver, underwater photographer. He's the best in Ireland, absolutely 100%. There's no one that comes close to him. We had our very first guest and his alter ego. We had Greg Snell on the first time, and then we had Brody McBra on, who was the last guest, so isn't that fitting, the first and the last of that season.
It's fault. During the F4 road trip, it's just one bra. Brody McBra.
For beer.
Something's not right.
And Red Bull.
God, who drinks Red Bull? That's disgusting.
Dude, no, they're not my shoes.
Whoa! Who the hell are you guys?
Who the f*** are you?
We had Peter Cox from Ireland as well, Mr. Phase 1. We had Gavin and Nick from the F4 road trip also, but we had loads and loads more. We actually even had Darren Spoonley on as well. But yeah, that's just to name a few. We had loads more on, and I thoroughly enjoyed talking to all the guests, and we will be doing more in the coming weeks. So we have Andy, the Northern Diver, who is the owner and producer of the Fancy a Brew podcast. Thank you very much, Andy.
Hi, in this episode I'm going to be passing on whatever knowledge I have about the difference between a jacket and a wing style BCD. If you get this right, not only will you be completely happy with what you've purchased, but you might not have to spend a fortune on 3 or 4 to getting you there, and you'll be the envy of all your mates. Can't miss out, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching. See you on Insta.
For sending me over the Mojo bracelets and the mug. Absolutely love it. So go listen to his podcast. I was actually a guest on it one time back in 2020. Really enjoyed it. Great scuba diver. So I'm looking forward to hooking up with him for the one-to-one series. And also we will have on Rafa Ludwig. Raphael is a big Canon supporter. He's a great filmographer, videographer, and he is mad into Apple as well. He has his own channel now running, and this dude is flying off the shelves. I mean, he's an unbelievable YouTuber, and he's going to be coming on the one-to-one series also. So he even got a shout out recently from Peter Lingrid. Oh, I can never pronounce that dude's name. Lingrid, something like that. But yeah, he got a shout out from him on his Instagram and all that crack. So Rafa, looking forward to having you on. Oh, I'd get you thirsty, wouldn't it? So after the one-to-one series, we needed something else also to kind of go along with the one-to-one series, so the people aren't seeing the same thing over and over again. So we decided to do, well, when we're on a trip up in Donegal, myself and Darren slept rough in the van for a couple of nights, and it was rough and it was cold. But we'd drink a can or two, you know, at night time. Well-deserved cans as well, if I'm being honest. And then we said, why don't we turn this into a camper van? And lo and behold, we absolutely did, to a certain degree. It's a work utility van with a bench that I can slide out into a bed, and it turned out to be an amazing job. So big thanks to Vanguard. You can check them out on vanguard.ie. Absolutely amazing guys to deal with. They helped me out the whole way along, but we did a lot of the work here as well on our own as well. So you can check out links to those episodes of the vlog. I'll leave some of them up here. But it was absolutely an amazing experience. But so we vlogged the whole kind of experience, and I do need to finish it off as well, but it was absolutely amazing. So we were allowed back out of our homes for a small bit. So myself, Bernard and Milo decided to hook up, and we headed off to Glendalough for a weekend shooting. So it was great because I've never been to Glendalough before, and I really enjoyed the experience, and I got to meet up with Keith Harkins and Eric Scraggs. So it was really, really cool because I'd never met those guys ever before, and they're really fun, down to earth kind of guys. So I really enjoyed that experience. And we headed off to the Black Castle for a sunrise the next day, and then we headed off to our Ballinasloe Woods. So I discovered those spots for the first time as well. So I loved it, absolutely loved it. So it was good to kind of get out and go to those places also. So when I got back from those spots, Darren said, let's go for another trip. He says, I'm heading off down to West Cork for a weekend. I'm going to sleep in my car. And I was there going, oh, I don't know if I'll be allowed to go, you know. So I kind of tested the waters with the boss lady. And lo and behold, she allowed me to go out and play with Darren. So I was like, I'm coming. So we loaded up the van and we headed off down. I picked up Darren. We had the camper all ready that we can sleep in. Absolutely brilliant experience. Headed down to West Cork, got some absolutely amazing drone footage, and it was a great weekend. You know, it was good to hook up with Darren for another trip because another lockdown was coming, but it was, yeah, absolutely loved it.
He's trucking on. He's got lactic acid in his ankles, he told me. His ankles? I know, right?
So after those kind of set of vlogs that I did with Darren down West Cork, I had kind of one more. I had the odd outing here and there, like scuba diving in the Bridges of Ross, which turned, I think it was the first time I really kind of got to Cananese underwater. So that was really cool. And the video that we got from there was just simply amazing. Absolutely breathtaking video from underwater. But my favorite video that we actually got, my favorite vlog of 2020 was definitely on its way. So one of my best mates, Ken O'Connell, shout out to Ken, you're a fucking legend, dude. he came up with the idea, why don't we go from Kilkee Bay out to Loophead? So we did it. We hopped on the jet skis. So I hopped onto the GTI, he hopped onto the GTR, and man, we let it rip and had absolute blast. It's the best time I've ever had in my whole life. It was so much fun. I mean, like, we got to see everything from drone footage. You got to see photographs of total different kind of landscape scene, because it's from compositions and scenes that I've never seen from sea level. I've always seen it from up above, and I'd be often out in the sea, in the scuba diving and on the boats, like, but just when you're on a jet ski, it gives you a whole different perspective, and you can go into all these caves and everything. So that was definitely my favorite vlog of the whole year. And then myself and Ken decided to set up our own YouTube channel as well. While we're going to still keep doing this one, we set up what's called Ireland's Atlantic Adventures. I'll leave link to it up here. Just go click it and you can subscribe there to see more. It's more kind of dedicated to jet ski and adventures on the Atlantic and that side of things. So it's an absolute ball of fun shooting with those guys. So you've Gavin Tier, Rob Ryan, and then we have a few other lads then as well along with us to kind of fill out the numbers, you know. But it's so much fun, genuinely. So 2020 wasn't an absolute shit year. Absolutely was. But it wasn't the worst, if I'm being totally honest. I had an absolute blast in 2020 to a certain degree, and hopefully I'm optimistic for 2021. Simply because I've bought a jet ski. So I ended up buying a Sea-Doo RX-PX 260 brake horsepower supercharged engine inside this thing. This is an absolute badass jet ski. I mean, this thing is going to be unbelievable. So fast. It's going to tear the arms off me. So the reason why I bought this jet ski is simply because I got hooked from the jet ski video with Ken. And this way now that I can go off on my own adventures that I want to do for just landscape photography, so I can drive from Doolin out to the Cliffs of Moher, and I can literally just stay there and wait for the right light. And it's just going to be something that I always wanted to do. Kind of, it's a unique perspective, shooting from sea level rather than being up on the cliffs all the time. But it's not just going to be County Clare. I mean, I'm going to be going absolutely everywhere, down to the Skelligs, down to Bull Rock. I'm going to hook up a Darren down in Cork, go out to Fastnet if I want to. I mean, the world is literally, well, Ireland is my oyster, the coast of Ireland. So I'm really looking forward to that side of things. But look, I know coronavirus is here in Ireland. It is an absolute deadly disease for some. But look, I have high hopes, and hopefully the world can get back on its feet, and we can get back to some bit of normality. Look, my business has taken a bit of a bashing. I don't bring in half as much money as I used to from the weddings or family portraits or any of that. All that work seems to be kind of pushed to the side. But it is what it is. Everyone is suffering. But as long as we all stick together, guys, we can all pull through, and we're going to come out. We're going to come out at the other end. I'm lost for words, really, because of this whole COVID. But like I said, high hopes for 2021. Okay, guys, thank you very much for watching this episode of the vlog. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope I've kept you on the edge of your seat watching some of these videos from 2020. So in my opinion, 2020, you got an 8 out of 10. So 2021, I'm hoping you're going to get a 9 or 10 out of 10. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe. Don't forget to leave me with a comment down below. Also, with the one-to-one series coming up again soon, if there's someone that you want to see interviewed for the one-to-one series, do drop their name down below, and I'll do my best to reach out to them and see if we can get them on for the one-to-one series. And that's it, folks. Thank you very, very much for watching, and I'll see you all soon. Hey yo.